One of the biggest questions and debates that has arisen in recent weeks is, what does the day after look like in Gaza? While right now the IDF is still operating, trying to carry out its mission of rescuing the hostages held by Hamas and also defeating Hamas, the terrorist organization that carried out the October 7th massacre, much debate is going on about what will Gaza look like afterwards. And one of the suggestions being floated around and even pushed by the United States administration is that the Palestinian Authority play a larger part in the governance of Gaza in the post-war situation. Now, the Palestinian Authority came into being after the Oslo Accords. The Oslo Accords were direct negotiations between Israel and the PLO, and the idea was, without rehashing the whole Accords, that these peace talks would lay out a framework which would end the conflict and bring about the creation of a Palestinian state side by side with Israel. And the Palestinian Authority was empowered as the legitimate spokesperson of the Palestinian people. And the goal was Palestinian self-governance. And that exists today in certain parts of Judea and Samaria in accordance with the Oslo Accords. And it did in Gaza when Israel withdrew in 2006. The Palestinian Authority took over full control. They lost that to Hamas. But that was the stated intention. Sadly, the Palestinian Authority didn't hold up to its end of the bargain, which was to end terrorism and its rejection of Israel. While on paper it says that it recognizes Israel, if you look at its education system, if you look at the TV programming, you look at statements from PA leaders, it's very much the opposite. And why it's particularly important to talk about the PA right now, there's a number of reasons. One, the PA will turn 20 years old in a few months. And interestingly, in those 2 decades, it's only ever had 2 leaders, Yasser Arafat and Mahmoud Abbas, who was appointed as successor after Arafat's death. The other interesting thing is Mohammed Shtayyeh, who was the Palestinian Authority Prime Minister, resigned this Monday with all his cabinet, apart from Mahmoud Abbas, who has held on to power for over a decade, has resigned because he said that there needs to be a unity government for the Palestinians. That unity government would include Hamas, the terrorist organization responsible for the October 7th massacre. Now, let's be real. As much as the narrative is pushed that the Palestinian Authority are the moderates, that the Palestinian Authority is who Israel should talk to, that the Palestinian Authority needs to play some part in what happens in Gaza, the PA is just another side of the Hamas coin. Yes, they mask their hatred a little bit better than Hamas, but they still glorify terrorism. They still pay terrorists a salary with their pay-to-slay program. They are infested with corruption. While so many Palestinians live on the poverty line, Mahmoud Abbas, the head of the PA, lives in a $14 million mansion. And this idea that the Biden administration has put across that we need to revitalize the PA, that it needs to be, changed up so it can play a part in running the Gaza Strip, I think is misguided and dangerous. It's not going to change the situation. It's going to make the Gaza Strip still infested with terrorism, but just not of the Hamas kind. The PA has done the bare minimum in fighting terrorism within its own ranks. Like I said earlier, it has supported and paid salaries to terrorists. It paid salaries to the murderers of Taylor Force, an American veteran who was murdered by Palestinian terrorists. Its education system, its TV system, every single facet of the PA drips with rejection of the Jewish state, with anti-Semitism, and with pro-terrorist sentiment. They are not the party that needs to be revitalized to run Gaza. Do I know what should happen in Gaza? Of course not. I don't. But the solution needs to come on the ground, one which is good for Israelis, for their security and safety, and one which is also good for Palestinians, where their needs are being met and they are not being ruled over by a corrupt bureaucratic machine which siphons off money for itself while keeping its people in poverty and then blaming it all on the Israelis. That's simply not a solution. It is just a problem deferred. for the region to have that elusive peace, a peace that we've seen growing in the last few years with the UAE, Bahrain, and other countries joining the Abraham Accords. We need leadership which actually cares about its people and actually cares about peace. The PA is neither of those two things. We need a future where Israelis can live in safety, security, not have to worry about catching a bus or living their day-to-day lives at the threat of terrorism, and the Palestinians a leadership that puts their human needs first over demonizing, delegitimizing, or being pawns for Iran. The region deserves better, and the people deserve better. The evidence is clear. The PA is neither a partner for peace nor moderates. They are part of this ongoing problem, this terrorism and extremism which has infested Palestinian society. Both the Israelis deserve better and the Palestinians deserve better than the PA to be given more responsibility, be more empowered, and get more international funding. This is Kasim Hafeez for the CUFI Weekly. For Zion's sake, do not remain silent.
Thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to like and subscribe so you get a notification every time a new episode hits. And if you want to check out some of our previous episodes, and we've got some really good ones, click on one of the thumbnails and that will take you right there. And finally, if you want to know more about CUFI and the work we do, go to CUFI.org to check out all the resources we have available free to you.